Hi, it's Easy Rider Greg. Welcome to the channel. I'm going to talk about early Japanese bikes that I own. Not going to talk about any Harleys, just 60s and 70s Japanese bikes. Very first one, well, I guess I didn't own it, my dad owned it. He bought it for me to ride. The Honda CT55 trail bike. The little version of the CT90 and the 125 that they're selling today. It was a lot of fun. I learned how to steer and operate the bike, and I didn't have a clutch that I had to use with my hand. It was a automatic clutch, 3-speed automatic clutch, but I learned how to shift the gears without a clutch. Then I went on and I bought a Hodaka Ace 90 with money that I had earned working on a farm while I was in high school. That was, today I guess they'd call it a dual sport. It was a 2-stroke 90cc. Basically a dirt bike, but it was street legal. Had all the lights and the brakes that one needs. And that's where I learned how to use a clutch. It wasn't difficult at all after having ridden the Honda CT55. Talking about Japanese bikes that I've owned. I had owned other Harley-Davidsons in this time frame after the Hodaka, but I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to talk about Japanese. And I bought a Honda CB350. First brand new motorcycle I ever bought in my life, and that kind of soured me on buying new bikes. Had to take it in several times for warranty work. I mean, they took care of it and all that, but if I had bought it after it was a couple of years old, that would have all been taken care of. after it was all taken care of, then everything was fine with it. Also, I did not like the dealer experience. Even back then, the motorcycle dealers, at least the Honda dealer, was not like the car dealers. They wouldn't deal. This was the price, take it or leave it. Although there were no fees back then other than sales tax and what the state required for registration and title. But they didn't charge you setup fees, but I still didn't like it, so I never bought another new one again until 2006, but that's another story. Anyway, so then I sold that because one of the bad things about it was it only got about 105, 110 miles before you had to buy gas. And I just didn't think that was very good. And back in those days, there wasn't a gas station every 20 miles like there is now. So I sold that after a couple of years. And I bought a Yamaha, a 1968 Yamaha YR2C Big Bear Scrambler, 350 2-stroke. Lots and lots of fun. I got a little bit better range on the gas. Not a whole lot, maybe about 130 miles before I had to get gas. But by then I was really only running around town to and from work. It didn't quite have enough oomph for me, considering I had also owned an American-made bike at this time, which you all know what it was, because that's all the only ones that were available then. Anyway, I sold that, But for some reason I was still not over the two-stroke sound. I bought a Kawasaki H2 750 3-cylinder two-stroke, 1972. Fast bike. Fastest bike I've ever owned. Fastest bike I've owned to this day. So fast, it even scared me, even though I was real young. And I only kept that about 8 or 9 months, and I sold it. But I like the scrambler thing from the Yamaha, so I bought a Honda CL350. Whereas the Yamaha had one pipe on each side, this one had both pipes on the right side. It was a lot of fun, real fun riding around, but still 120, 125 miles, and you got to get gas. Hadn't learned my lesson about that yet either. So I kept that not quite 2 years, and then I bought a 1973 Kawasaki Z1, 900cc, 4-cylinder, 4-stroke engine. Great bike, absolutely great bike. That, if you'd have wanted to, you could have toured with it. It was comfortable. You could get saddlebags. You could even get a box for the top. Satisfied me for power, and it would go maybe 160, 165 miles before I had to get gas, which was a whole lot better than the other ones were doing. And it was considered at the time a high revving bike, but it wasn't high revving like they are now. I think it redlined at about 76, 7,800 RPM, something like that. It just, redlined higher than what an American V-twin would have redlined at. And in fact, all of the 4-stroke Japanese bikes, I think that's about what they redlined. It's under 8,000 back then. It wasn't until the 80s where they started getting up there. Anyway, that's all the Japanese bikes I had. It was fun, but I ended up selling it. That I wish I had kept. Actually, I wish I'd kept all of the larger bikes. I wish I'd kept all of the Hondas. I wish I'd kept the Yamaha. I wish I'd kept both Kawasaki's. Just for tooling around, not for doing anything else, just for riding around, having fun. Because by the time the 80s came along, I didn't like the Japanese motorcycles. They were starting to rev higher, which I didn't like the sound when they got high revving. They were starting to have the rear fender up so high that the rear tire was completely exposed, and I did not like that. And that's pretty much the way most of the Japanese bikes are made now. In fact, a lot of the other foreign bikes are made that way, and now it looks like Harley's making them that way with their Sportster S. Although that one, I think the fenders just stopped about mid-tire. The Pan America's fender's way up in the air. Anyway, those are the Japanese bikes that I had. I liked them. All of the 350s and above, I wouldn't mind having again. If I could find one that was in really good shape. Wouldn't have to be great cosmetically. Wouldn't have to be perfect cosmetically. But, straight. No dents. Scratches, rust. I could do with that. But I want it to run right. I don't want to have to try to figure out what's wrong and rebuilding it. But they were great bikes. So thanks a lot for watching, and don't miss the next exciting adventure.